Prime Field.
Welcome back to Prime Field, where we break down the biggest moves, the boldest strategies, and the game-changing moments that define college sports. I'm your host, and today we're diving deep into a story that has every basketball analyst, every coach, and every fan talking. Picture this. Two former teammates separated by the recruiting trail and different college journeys, finding their way back to each other at the perfect moment. This isn't just another transfer story. This isn't just another reunion. This is the kind of basketball destiny that legends are made of. The University of South Carolina Gamecocks have just pulled off what might be the most strategic backcourt acquisition in recent memory. Raven Johnson, the steady force who's been bleeding garnet and black, is returning for her final year of eligibility. But here's where it gets interesting. She won't be leading this backcourt alone. Tania Latson, the nation's leading scorer, who just transferred from Florida State, is officially joining her former high school teammate in Columbia. These two didn't just play together at Westlake High. They won a national championship together. They know each other's moves before they even make them. The timing couldn't be more perfect or more necessary. After that heartbreaking 2025 national championship loss that still stings for Gamecock Nation, head coach Dawn Staley knew she needed something special. She needed that extra gear, that championship-level chemistry that can't be taught in practice. She needed magic. And magic's exactly what she's getting with the Johnson Latson reunion. This backcourt pairing brings together complementary skills, established trust, and the kind of basketball intelligence that can transform a program's trajectory in a single season. The question isn't whether this duo will make an impact. The question is just how dominant they'll become when they step onto the court together wearing those garnet jerseys. Let's talk about Raven Johnson, because understanding her journey is crucial to appreciating just how explosive this reunion really is. Johnson isn't just returning for another year. She's returning with a mission, with experience, and with the kind of court vision that makes coaches lose sleep worrying about their game plans. Over her career in Columbia, Johnson has been the epitome of consistency. While other players chase highlight reels and SportsCenter clips, Johnson has been perfecting the art of basketball fundamentals. Her assist-to-turnover ratio tells a story of a player who values the team's success over personal statistics. Her defensive positioning reveals a student of the game who understands that championships are built on the less glamorous side of the court. But here's what makes Johnson truly special. She's a floor general who makes everyone around her better. Watch the tape from her previous seasons, and you'll see something remarkable. When Johnson's on the court, the Gamecocks' offensive efficiency jumps significantly. Not because she's taking over games with scoring outbursts, but because she's creating the perfect conditions for her teammates to thrive. Her basketball IQ is off the charts. She reads defenses like a chess master seeing 5 moves ahead. She knows when to push the pace and when to slow things down. She understands the subtle art of getting teammates involved, keeping everyone engaged, and maintaining the rhythm that championship teams require. Johnson's leadership style is quiet but unmistakable. She leads by example, showing up early, staying late, and treating every possession like it matters. Her teammates respect her because she's earned it through consistent excellence and unwavering commitment to the program's culture. Now, as she enters her final season, Johnson isn't just playing for another year of college basketball, she's playing for legacy. She's playing to cement her place in Gamecock history. And with Tania Latson by her side, she has the perfect partner to make that legacy unforgettable. If Raven Johnson is the steady storm, then Tania Latson is the lightning strike that illuminates the entire sky. The nation's leading scorer didn't earn that title by accident. She earned it through a combination of natural talent, relentless work ethic, and an almost supernatural ability to find the bottom of the net when her team needs it most. At Florida State, Latson was more than just a player. She was an entire offensive system. Game after game, she shouldered the scoring burden with a maturity that belied her years. Her shot selection was impeccable. Her range was limitless. Her confidence was unshakable. But here's what separates Latson from other prolific scorers. She doesn't just score points. She scores the right points at the right times. Fourth quarter with the game on the line, Latson wants the ball. Tough road environment with hostile crowds, Latson thrives in that chaos. Double teams and complex defensive schemes, Latson finds ways to create shots that shouldn't exist. Her offensive arsenal is complete. She can pull up from deep with defenders draped all over her. She can drive to the basket through traffic that would intimidate most players. She can create her own shot off the dribble, or catch and shoot in rhythm. Most importantly, she can adapt her scoring approach based on what the game situation demands. The transfer to South Carolina represents more than just a change of scenery for Latson. It represents an opportunity to elevate her game to championship levels. At Florida State, she was often the only consistent offensive threat, facing box-and-one defenses and constant double-team. In Columbia, playing alongside Johnson and surrounded by Dawn Staley's championship-caliber supporting cast, Latson will have the space and freedom to be even more devastating. Think about what happens when defenses can't focus all their attention on stopping one player. Think about the open looks Latson will get when Johnson's orchestrating the offense and creating advantages. Think about the mismatch nightmares opposing coaches will face trying to contain this dynamic duo. Here's where this story transcends typical transfer portal narratives and enters the realm of basketball destiny. Johnson and Latson aren't just talented players who happen to be joining forces. They're former teammates who already know each other's basketball DNA. Their high school days at Westlake weren't just successful, they were historic. That national championship they won together wasn't a fluke or a fortunate tournament run. It was the culmination of a partnership that understood the delicate balance between individual excellence and team success. Chemistry in basketball isn't something that can be manufactured in practice or created through coaching strategies. Real chemistry, the kind that leads to championships, is built through shared experiences, mutual trust, and an almost telepathic understanding of each other's tendencies on the court. Johnson and Latson have that rare connection. They remember each other's favorite spots on the floor. They understand each other's timing on picks and cuts. They know when to feed each other the ball and when to create their own shots. This isn't chemistry that needs to be developed. This is chemistry that just needs to be reactivated. But here's what makes this reunion even more intriguing. Both players have evolved significantly since their high school days. Johnson has developed into a more complete floor general with enhanced court vision and defensive awareness. Latson has refined her scoring ability and added new dimensions to her offensive game. They're returning to each other as more mature, more skilled, and more experienced players. The foundation of their partnership remains solid, but the ceiling of their potential has been raised dramatically. They're not just reuniting, they're reuniting as upgraded versions of their former selves. When these two step onto the court together for the first time in Gamecock uniforms, it won't be a tentative feeling out process. It'll be an immediate activation of championship-level basketball chemistry that most teams spend entire seasons trying to develop. Dawn Staley didn't just acquire two talented players. She fundamentally altered the strategic possibilities for her entire program. The Johnson-Latson backcourt creates tactical advantages that will keep opposing coaches awake at night trying to devise defensive solutions. Consider the pick-and-roll possibilities. Johnson's court vision and passing ability combined with Latson's shooting range and driving ability creates a two-headed monster that defenses simply cannot fully account for. Do you go under the screen and give Latson an open three-pointer? She'll make you pay. Do you switch and create a mismatch? Johnson will exploit it immediately. Do you trap and try to force a turnover? These players have seen every defensive look imaginable. The spacing this backcourt provides opens up the entire offensive system. When you have two players who can legitimately score from anywhere on the court, it forces defenses to extend their coverage. That extension creates driving lanes for teammates, easier post-up opportunities for big players, and general offensive flow that makes everyone's job easier. Defensively, the impact is equally significant. Johnson's defensive instincts and anticipation, combined with Latson's competitive fire and athleticism, creates a backcourt that can disrupt opposing offenses in multiple ways. They can pressure ball handlers, force turnovers, and create transition opportunities that showcase their offensive abilities. But perhaps most importantly, this pairing solves South Carolina's biggest need following their championship game disappointment. They needed reliable shot creation. They needed clutch performers who could make plays when the lights are brightest. They needed players who understand what it takes to win at the highest level. Johnson and Latson bring all of those qualities wrapped in a partnership that's already proven it can deliver when championships are on the line. They're not just filling roster spots. They're completing a championship puzzle that was missing a few crucial pieces. The 2025 to 2026 season represents more than just another year of college basketball for the South Carolina Gamecocks. It represents a championship window that's perfectly aligned with the Johnson-Latson reunion, creating an opportunity that might not come around again for years. Johnson is in her final year of eligibility, meaning this is her last chance to capture that elusive national championship that would cap off her remarkable college career. There's an urgency to her mission, a finality that often brings out the best in veteran players who understand their time is running short. Latson, fresh from her transfer, is hungry to prove that her decision to join the Gamecocks was the right move. She's not just looking to put up impressive individual numbers, she's looking to validate her choice by bringing home the ultimate prize. That motivation, that desire to justify a major life decision, can be incredibly powerful. The supporting cast around them is championship caliber. Dawn Staley has assembled the kind of depth and talent that gives teams multiple ways to win games. When you combine that roster construction with the Johnson Latson backcourt, you have the ingredients for something special. The timing also aligns with the program's emotional state. That 2025 championship game loss is still fresh in everyone's memory. Players, coaches, and fans are all carrying that disappointment, that sense of unfinished business. Sometimes the best championship teams are the ones that are motivated by recent failure rather than past success. This isn't just about adding talent to an already good team. This is about addressing specific weaknesses while maximizing existing strengths at the exact moment when everything is aligned for a championship run. The Johnson Latson reunion isn't just good timing, it's perfect timing. As we wrap up this deep dive into the Johnson Latson reunion, it's important to understand that we're not just talking about basketball statistics or win-loss record. We're talking about the kind of story that becomes part of college basketball folklore. Think about the greatest backcourt partnerships in college basketball history. Think about the duos that are remembered not just for their individual talents, but for how they elevated each other and their programs to heights that seemed impossible. Johnson and Latson have the opportunity to join that exclusive company. Their story resonates because it touches on themes that go beyond sports. It's about friendship, loyalty, and the belief that sometimes the best path forward requires looking backward to rediscover what made you successful in the first place. It's about second chances and perfect timing. It's about the magic that happens when preparation meets opportunity. For Gamecock Nation, this reunion represents hope renewed after championship heartbreak. For college basketball fans everywhere, it represents the kind of compelling narrative that makes the sport irresistible. For Johnson and Latson themselves, it represents the chance to write the perfect ending to their college careers. The 2025 to 2026 season is still months away, but the anticipation is already building. When these two former champions step onto the court together for the first time in South Carolina uniforms, it won't just be another game. It'll be the beginning of what could be a legendary championship journey. The backcourt takeover isn't just coming, it's already here. And if history's any indication, the best is yet to come. That's a wrap on today's deep dive into the Johnson Latson reunion. Make sure to subscribe to Prime Field for more in-depth analysis of the moves, strategies, and stories that are shaping college sports. Until next time, keep your eyes on the court and your finger on the pulse of the game.
Prime Field.